Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family.
I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I know for many, this weekend has become filled with school graduations, end of the year parties, cookouts, and family gatherings. I do hope, however, that you did take some time to remember and thank God for those who have gone before us and given their lives so that we could live in freedom. Freedom is a blessing from God for sure, and we do not always realize the magnitude of our freedom until we've lost it, especially in the realm of our health. And it is such a blessing and encouragement to me to hear so many It's the Bread testimonies from those who have found new freedom from often quite troubling health issues. So today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, you will hear yet another It's the Bread story. My guest today is my new friend, Courtney McCravy. I first met Courtney after one of our Getting Started classes that she attended at Bread Becker's. She shared a little with me then some of the health issues her family was facing and was believing the bread and real whole grains might be an answer. When I got her email a few weeks ago sharing her story, I knew hers was a story of freedom that everyone would want to hear. So Courtney, thank you for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you on Sue's Healthy Minutes. Would you just begin by sharing a little bit about yourself?
Hey, thanks for having me. So I'm Courtney McCravy. I am a mom of two boys and a wife, and we live in around Paulding County. It's about an hour from Bread Beckers. So what pretty much I have a simple life. I stay home with my boys. I homeschool. So this was my second year homeschooling this past year, and I'm going to start homeschooling my littlest one next year. So we pretty much just hang out outside and play and just live the simple life and now make bread. So
all right. Yes.
lots of bread.
That is so exciting. So how did you come to hear about Bread Beckers? What led you to this journey?
Well, prayer for one.
Yes, I'd love to hear that.
It's crazy because it all started actually my sister getting baptized at this church. And once I went to see her get baptized, I just fell in love with the church. And it was on my heart for a little while to kind of find somewhere else. And anyways, I met this woman, and she actually was the pastor's wife. And we kind of bonded and got a friendship going. And she told me about the bread. And she also had a friend that also does the bread too. And we just talked about it. And then, at first I was just like, okay, that's cool. Like you do that. Like, I didn't really I was like, wow, you really do that? I was just surprised. But she, it was funny because me and my sister-in-law, we actually ended up meeting the same person. And so she was telling her about the bread. And then my sister-in-law was booking the Getting Started class. And so it's just funny how it all just panned out. And so pretty much me, my two sister-in-laws, and my mother-in-law came to your Getting Started class. And
I thought there was
there was a group. There was definitely a group. And my sister-in-law's sister-in-law.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's not too confusing. And it's just funny because we all do it. we all make the bread and we started together. And I think it's amazing because we have a lot of family gatherings. And so we all are like, all right, who's making some buns? Who's making this,
that's great.
And we all are eating the same thing. So it's really cool. So that's really how I got started. It's just a word of mouth. And now I can't shut up about the bread. I tell everyone about it. I make a loaf for a friend of mine that I used to work with every week. She started one. Her husband has warts, and we'll get into that later. But she's like, "Can you make me a loaf each week, and I'll pay you for it?" I was like, "I don't know how to charge this, but I'll make it. Yeah, I'll make it for you." And so it's just been really, really cool to see God moving. It was definitely an answered prayer.
Now, how long ago was that? It was earlier
just
this year.
February.
That's what I was thinking. So it's only been March, April, May. So 3 months, maybe?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's been, when I say it's an answered prayer, it's just crazy how God works, all the ways that he just maneuvers everything and the path that he creates. It's pretty amazing to see. I could go in so much detail of what he's done, but basically when I went to your class, it was like I felt in my spirit, this is what we needed for my husband in particular. Well, for our family, but in particularly my husband. He's been struggling so hard health-wise since September. And he still battles sometimes. But it's really, really helped. It's just been such a true blessing, honestly.
Can you share some of his struggles? You shared a little bit. Yeah. So tell everyone what he was going through. It was pretty significant.
It was
very significant.
Very, yes. And I asked him before I got on here, I was like, so what do you want me to share? He's like, I don't care, share everything. I was like, okay.
Well, tell Jacob I said hello.
I will. So pretty much he was having severe anxiety. Some health scare happened, and it really triggered him really, really badly. And since he has such bad anxiety, I'm pretty sure that he created severe abdominal pain. Well, actually ended up turning into a bacterial infection in the small intestine. And he was he lost 50 pounds in a matter of 3 to 4 months. It was ridiculous. And he didn't need to lose that, let's just say. Right. He's big into the gym. He's like the healthiest person that I know. So it's just crazy that, he went from, 50 pounds in just a matter of months, but that's what anxiety can do. And so he's battled pretty much a lot of his life with anxiety, but this one in particularly, he couldn't get out of. It was like he was stuck in that state for a very long time. And I'm not saying he doesn't have, we all have our days, but it was really bad. I've never seen it that bad. And we've been together a long time. So anyways, he was having that bacterial infection. So we went to see doctors after doctors after doctors. And we found this one doctor, and he was telling him, you're pretty much your body's not getting any nutrients. It's fermenting. All food's an enemy. Your body's viewing foods as an enemy, and it's fermenting and rotting in your body. And so that's why he was always sick. He was always in pain, and he was just so stressed out because he's like, why is this not getting any better? So,
and he even ended up in the ER, right?
He did. Yes, he did. And they didn't do anything. They're like, oh, you look fine. Send him home. And I'm like, but he's not fine. It's been very, very frustrating for a long time because we've just been trying so hard to figure out what it is. And on top of all of that, he was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And we were pretty sure he has gout. So all of this happened since September. It's like we were at the beach, he came home, and it just hit the fan and things just changed. He's doing a lot better now, thank the good Lord above. But the crazy thing is when I say I felt it in my spirit after I went to your class, I just knew. He was supposed to start all these supplements for his anxiety to see what levels were off, like serotonin and all of that. And I just did not feel comfortable. I remember I was sitting on the front porch and I was praying, and I just was bawling my eyes out. And I was like, I don't feel like this is something that you need to do. Let's try this first. Just let's eat the bread. Let's give this a chance first. And I just felt the Lord just say, like, he's going to get better. Yeah. And it was so comforting to me to know that. So anyways, I know this is crazy, and I don't know how it even helps, or how it even, I guess you could say, makes this work. Maybe it's his body getting the nutrients that he needs. But since eating the bread, the anxiety, he came out of that. And it's helped him tremendously. I've seen a difference after he started eating it.
Right.
Like gradually getting better and better. And I was like, what the heck? And of course his pain is gone. The bacterial infection is gone completely.
That's amazing.
I know, it's just crazy. When I say it's a blessing, I'm not kidding. It's like, it's just really cool. And, he still struggles sometimes with, the gout stuff if he eats like sugar or something like that. Like, obviously we don't need to be eating that anyways. Or he eats the high puring foods, it bothers him. But honestly, one of the foods that like his doctor said to not eat was wheat, gluten, don't eat gluten. And so Jacob was back and forth. He's like, I don't know what to do. Like, this guy's saying this, and then you're telling me this. And I was like, we're listening to the podcast. We listened to your podcast on the way to the doctor's appointment. I said, listen to this, because I've been listening to all of them. I'm finally caught up now. And I was like, please listen to this. And it was like the science behind it all.
Yes.
Like the difference between white flour and
real whole grain.
Yes. And so we never looked back since then. He started eating it. He was terrified at first. I'm not going to lie. He was nervous because, you always hear gluten is the evil, and I was like, I don't know. And then I learned about what gluten really is, and I was like, oh, okay. So he's pretty much was banned to eat that, but he eats it anyways. I said, just don't tell your doctor you're eating it. But I'm just kidding. But,
we don't always recommend that, but
I know. I'm teasing.
The amino acids that are in wheat, they're actually healing to the gut. And so it's not just the fiber cleansing you, it is the nutrients that are there. But the amino acids, the proteins that actually form gluten, such as glutamine, those are healing. Those are healing to your gut lining. So it's really sad that there's not this differentiation between wheat, the bread that's in the store, and real wheat.
Yes.
That's not wheat.
Yes. I know. And I could keep going. It's honestly helped us, me, my children. Yes. What I was really excited about, besides Jacob, because obviously he was in such a bad state.
That's a big one. But I think you said you have a wart story, don't you?
Yes. Okay. So my oldest Lane, he is 6 years old. He is having warts on his arm, and he had them for a while. I can't say exactly, maybe a year or two, but they've just always were like, they were small and they just kept getting bigger. And so when I heard about this, I was so excited to see what this would do. And I was like, always encouraging him. I make muffins, like I feel like every other day, honestly. Yeah. We eat them so fast. They're gone.
I know, but they're a wonderful go-to for when you've got young children. Just boom, get it done.
Yes, they are. And I love not having to cook breakfast in the morning, because I can cook them at nighttime and just have them ready in the morning.
Yes.
I was like, you got to eat these. They're going to make your warts go away, And I didn't have to twist his arm because he loves them. But at first he was eating them and they would just multiply. And I was like, what is going on? I said, we've been eating this bread for a month. Why are they multiplying?
I remember you asking me about that.
Yes. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, what's funny is I told my friend this, the one that told me about bread, like milling the bread or milling the grain. And she had her daughter right now is doing that. It's multiplying. Well, then the next thing you know, they're just like flaking off. And I wonder, someone told me that it's the virus disturbed trying to exit out of his body, I guess. But they multiplied and then they're like, boom, gone.
Wow. That's
even
amazing.
Jacob had warts too, and those are gone. And he had them for years and years and years. Just this one stubborn wart that was on his hand that just never went away. So it's really, really cool. So the warts are gone and he feels so confident. He was so excited. He was like, look, I have a normal arm. I was like, oh my gosh, that broke my heart.
Listen, I almost cried when I read that you mentioned how self-conscious he was. And then when they were gone, he said, I have a normal arm again.
I know.
I tell you, it did.
I know. It was so it was so, I don't know. I was just so excited to see that. You know, you see it like Jacob's results. You can't see it from the outside, but you can see it. You notice it, you know?
Right.
From the, you know, you can notice how he's been. And then Lane's is like, oh my gosh, it's like crazy.
It's real.
Yes, it's real. And too, with Lane, he always looked very, I don't want to say like, I guess weak looking. He would look tired, and his eyes, like they would always have like the dark circles under his eyes. Like his immune system was weakened or something. And I'm telling you, and two, not even like eating that much. And I'm telling you right now, since eating this bread, the energy level, the tiredness look that he had is gone. His circles are gone. He's eating me out of the house. Like it's crazy. I mean, he doesn't snack as much eating the bread. Like I've noticed they're full longer, which is a blessing for my grocery bill. But he just seems so like full of life, if that makes sense.
Oh gosh, it does make sense. And you said it too. You don't have to twist his arm to eat the muffins and bread. He loves it.
Yeah, we made muffins and brownies and coffee cake, and I like to make buns rather than a loaf because they're just so versatile, and you can grab one and go, or you can make sandwich or hamburgers. Like, you know, we make those a lot.
And I always found when my kids were younger, they could it was their role. They could cut it however they wanted. But when I made loaves, whoever cut it sometimes would destroy it.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to get it cut. So,
yes.
Well, you also mentioned that your monthly cycles have improved.
Yes, it took me a while to really realize what it was.
Yeah.
And it was the past 2 months that we were eating it. I just noticed that they weren't as heavy and as long. And usually I'm a 7-dayer, and I cramp a lot. I get so bloated, and it's just miserable. Well, I was telling my mother-in-law, I was like, I'm really thinking this bread has helped with my cycles. Like, I'm not kidding. She's like, you know what's funny? Kara, my other sister-in-law, she told me the same thing. We didn't even know that. And then my other sister-in-law said the same thing. I was like, wait a second, this is nuts. Like, I didn't expect it to do that.
Well, that was vitamin E's original kind of reputation, that it helps tremendously with the female's reproductive cycle. And that's how I first learned about vitamin E years ago, way before bread. And then now learning that the bread, wheat, is one of the richest food sources of vitamin E if it's freshly milled. I'm restudying and I'm reading and studying again about the benefits of vitamin E. I'm reading a whole book on it, and it's just gotten me so excited again. And years ago, when we had a bakery, we had our bakery bread tested, and in just one slice of bread, 100% of our daily requirement of vitamin E is supplied.
Whoa.
Now, I'm not saying one slice of bread is all you need a day, but that's pretty exciting because it's not in the bread that's in the store. It's not in refined oils or grains where it should be. So that's pretty exciting, but understandable from everything I've studied about vitamin E.
That's crazy. That's just crazy. It's just mind blowing to me. I'm still mind blown. But like even my iron, I've always had low iron. I haven't got any blood tests recently, but when I was pregnant, they wanted me to take iron supplements, the whole thing. I hated doing that. But I can tell you already that without a blood test, that my iron level is already up because my energy level is way higher. And I actually just recently cut out coffee, like caffeine. I was really nervous to do that, but I honestly don't feel any dip during the day. It's crazy. And I'm telling you, when I say I eat the bread, it's like 2 or 3 times a day. Whether it's a muffin or a pan, we made pancakes yesterday. I make rolls constantly for sandwiches and things. So we love it. But I wanted to share too, really quick, if you don't mind. About,
no. Just was going to say that was one of the things I noticed when we started making the bread. I mean, I had 5 young children and a newborn, and that was one of the things I noticed is that I didn't have the dip in the afternoon. I had this sustained energy. And the iron levels can be several things. Grains and seeds do typically provide iron, but also the vitamin E plays a role in that, in protecting our red blood cells. Wow. So
Well, we're loving the vitamin E.
Yep. I'm going to do another whole podcast on vitamin E besides the work story. After reading this book, I'm like so excited again. But yeah, tell us about your youngest son now, I think. Is that what you were going to tell me about?
Yes, Logan. Okay, so he is just turned 4 in April. And he has had some some breathing stuff go on. And we found out we think it's asthma due to allergies. So this time, last year, he was so bad. Like he was coughing every, when I say 5 to 10 seconds, it was 5 to 10 seconds. I took him to the doctor. Yeah, I told the doctor, I was like, he's just not stopped coughing. Nothing's relieving this. Well, apparently he was so closed up, with mucus, he could, his airways were almost closed up.
Oh my God.
Yes. So we had to do a breathing treatment in the doctor's office, and she's like, if this doesn't get better here, then we're gonna have to admit you to the hospital. So luckily, by the grace of God, he got better. He opened up then, and she sent me home with a nebulizer and albuterol and the breathing treatments, and I had to do steroids and breathing treatments for him for months. I think it was weeks to months, and he would get so bad during this time of year, and particularly starting March-ish, February to March.
Yeah, and all the pollen. Yeah.
Yes, and we had early pollen this year, so it actually started February. He was starting to I saw the signs of it, and we just started eating the bread at the end of February. So we started eating the bread at the end of February, like I said. And he only needed 2 breathing treatments because we just started eating it. But then on, he has not had any. And I was just amazed because he really struggles with snottiness and the breathing stuff. And I've had so many breathing treatments on that poor kid. And waking up in the middle of the night, it'd be 2 a.m., can't stop coughing, can't breathe good, putting him on, doing a breathing treatment. But since eating the bread, I don't know how it's linked, but it has helped him tremendously with that. And even I don't feel like my kids are getting as snotty. I mean, occasionally you'll have a little whatever, but nothing near what they were getting. And honestly, I didn't realize this till earlier today when I was thinking about it, that I really, my kids haven't been sick in a long, I can't tell you the last time they were actually sick. And I know that it's probably just boosting their immune system, giving their body the nutrients and vitamins that it needs. So for that, I'm again so grateful to just to be able to not have to worry about that, knowing that they are getting everything that they need. And one night I made something that Logan didn't like for dinner, and he ate 2 rolls, and I was like, well, I don't actually mind that you just ate 2 rolls because you're getting protein and you're getting all the things you need.
Yep.
So that's fine.
Yep. That's what I tell people when my kids were growing. I was like, fine, just eat the roll. I don't care. I don't care, but just fine. Just eat the bread because it was probably the most nutritious thing on the plate, even though
that would be the one I would say to stay away from. I'm like, don't eat the bread, eat the meat or whatever. Right. Now I'm like, no, to eat the bread. Don't waste the bread. That's pure gold. Okay.
Yes, I totally get it. That's the way I was too. But so you mentioned that this was a kind of a family affair, and that your mother-in-law has also seen improvement as well. I don't think she'd mind you sharing her story either, do you?
No, not at all. And it's funny because we got into all this together. We went to the Getting Started class. Well, I couldn't get everything that day. Jacob was changing jobs and everything. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to start. My mother-in-law she's just wonderful. I love her. We all lived on the same land together.
Right.
And so she's like, look, I'll get the grain mill and I'll get the bread machine. And then me and my sister-in-law, Sammy, we both went to my mother-in-law's house and milled our grain and made our bread there for a time and just brought back the stuff at our house. So I would pack my little book bag full of, honey, oil, grain, and all the things I needed to make my own up there at her house for some time until I could get enough money to buy my own mill and bread machine. And that was Christmas when I got those. So I didn't have to walk up the driveway every day, pretty much every day to make something. But it was a blessing for her to let us do that. But yes, she is she got some lab work done that wasn't in the best ranges, and she started eating the bread. And 3 weeks later, she went back, and she even noticed that she was in the pre-diabetic range before. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, oh my gosh. Well, 3 weeks later, she gets them back, and it's like dropped 11 points. And she's like, what the heck? Well, all she changed really was the bread. Right. And I told her, I was like, it is the bread, because I've been listening to the podcast and I'm hearing a lot about this. I know it is. And she even mentioned too, her vitamin D level went up, and she's like, I've always been low. And she's like, I don't understand how that bread would help that. I said, well, maybe your body, I don't know for sure, but maybe your body is getting the nutrients that it needs to be able to grab a hold of that vitamin D to take it in. Yes. I don't know.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but like I said, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's probably the vitamin E again. It protects it protects cholesterol. It protects your fat soluble vitamins, which is your A, and cholesterol, because that's your precursor of vitamin D. Your body makes that vitamin D. Yes. That's amazing. And I love to hear that, because we're so often told that diabetics shouldn't eat bread or carbohydrates. And that's just not true when it's the real whole grains and beans and real complex carbohydrates. That's the most needed thing. And that can help regulate your blood sugar better than any food, really.
Yes. So, and Lane he went to like a classical conversations like once a week. Since I homeschool, he went to one, and I met a friend there, and she hadn't had gluten in like 6 years, something crazy. Well, this was when I just started, and I was just I'm still so excited by it. But I was like, look, let me make you some muffins, and then let me know how it goes. Like, you're my little science experiment. So I brought her some muffins, and she's like, I ate them, and I didn't go to the run to the bathroom like she normally would right after eating gluten. Right. So it was just amazing to hear from other people too. And like, man, this is really life changing. Like, it is with everyone. I've named my mom. I don't know, you could probably help answer this more, but she has like really low estrogen, like just tired all the time. And she just, I was like, well, let me make you some bread. And so hopefully I want to see improvement there when I make it for her more. But I don't know if the bread could help with stuff like that. But she's my next experiment.
Well, we might have to have you back again to hear more of your It's the Bread stories. I just love it. And, it's not just health issues that we get freedom from, but just like your friend, it really saddens me to see people, think they have to go gluten-free, because that's not easy. That's not an easy lifestyle, especially if you're very strict. But that's a freedom to know that she can eat this bread, even though it has gluten-forming proteins in it. It's not gluten-free, but it's the way God intended us to eat it. And that just excites me to hear when people say, I didn't think I could eat this, and now I can. That's freedom. That's real freedom.
It is. And the gluten-free stuff, they came a long way, but it's nothing. It's not good. Like, the bread is not good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had Jacob was eating it for a while, because at first, before we knew about this, gluten-free stuff, and it just wasn't. It's honestly not healthy either. Like, no, it's a bunch of loaded crap, and it's in the ingredients, and it's just like, so people think gluten-free is healthy, and it's really not.
No, it's not at all. So, well, I've just loved hearing all your stories. And you're obviously a busy mom. You've got 2 young children, you homeschool, you have a husband, you're making bread. And you even told me in your email that never in a million years did you think you would be milling your own grain and making your own bread.
And my mother-in-law still gets tickled about it. She's like, just because she, knew me way before. And she's like, it's just so funny, like how you are now. You're homeschooling. Never thought I'd do that either. You're homeschooling. You're making bread. I'm like, I know. It's just crazy though. But I do pray that God gives me the desires, of his desires. And though it just has turned into this. So
yes. Isn't it such a satisfaction knowing you're putting healthy food on the table? and
Yes.
giving your kids something that's making them well, and your husband and you something
Yes.
that's making you well. To me, it was just such a blessing, and such a satisfaction to know that I was doing that. And well, so like I said, I know you're a busy mom, and this probably wasn't what you thought you would be doing, obviously, but was it a difficult adjustment for you? And what would you want to say to encourage other young moms, or anybody for that matter, because we all think we're too busy, but what would you say to encourage them to make this change?
Well, I will say that it was not a hard change at all. I was just so excited. I was like a kid on Christmas, really, because I had so much, I guess, faith and knowing that it was going to work, because I felt in my spirit that it was just what I needed to do. Does that make sense? So
yes.
It's just, I felt so at peace about it, and I was so excited, and I couldn't wait for us to try it. I couldn't wait for us to see benefits, because I just knew we were. I didn't know what they were going to be, but I knew that we were going to see something. So I was so for sure about it. But it is not hard at all. And it's actually really fun. I felt like when I make the buns, I tell people it's like adult Play-Doh. Like, you literally get to rip apart stuff and roll it up, and it's really fun. And you can actually eat this kind, not the people that kids try to eat the Play-Doh. Well, you can actually eat this, but so really what being encouraging is just pray, and that God will lead you down the right path, and He will, and because that's what He did for me, was He led us down this Brad Becker's path. And if you felt led to do it, because you don't even know what blessings it could be like, and this is made from God, like, it's good, people, and I see why this world is all gluten, it's evil, and this and that, and we say, no wheat and things like that, because this world is against Jesus, and Jesus compares himself to bread. And so I see the things happening, where people are trying to put all of this stuff in our minds, saying this is bad, but don't listen. Just let the Lord lead you in the right direction. And just trust this, because it does. This is made from God. This is pure. This is good. It tastes delicious, and it's not hard to do. I can mill grain in literally like 2 minutes, and putting the bread in the bread machine to like knead it is, it's not hard at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that a lot of the recipes have hardly any ingredients. Like, you don't have to have a slew of stuff to make this. It's simple. Right. It's so simple and doable. Anyone can do it. I make time for it, because it's that important to me to have my family and myself be as healthy as we can be, because our bodies are temples, and God, we only have one, and I feel like as a follower of Jesus, we need to take care of what He's given us. And
absolutely.
So we're trying our best, to eat the best we can, so we can fulfill our purposes in life.
Amen. I believe that too. Oh my goodness. And just the freedom that your family has found. That's just such a joy to me. And I hope that, as always, these testimonies fill everyone that hears this with hope. And I just really can't thank you, Courtney, enough for sharing all of these wonderful health improvements that your family has seen in just a matter of a few months. And then your words of encouragement. Pray, seek the Lord, and He promises that He's going to give you an answer. He promises that He'll give you wisdom. Yes. So anyway, we at Bread Beckers, we're here to come alongside of you in this journey to help you make this first step to better health. That's what we want for you. So I just want to thank you, Courtney. Thank you for everyone for listening today. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated, located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.